Hi, welcome to NAS Recovery for the Unitrends System Administration course. By the end of this module, you'll be able to recover specific files and directories from your NAS backups, or you'll also be able to recover the entire contents of your NAS backups. First, let's take a look at determining your recovery approach. Where are the backups you want to recover? It's kind of the first question you have to ask yourself, because there's three main types of backups that you can recover from. There's the backups that are on the local appliance that stay in ready kind of retention. All backup catalogs are kept ready for recovery on that local appliance on the local system. But you also have the cold backup copies. That's the two-phase recovery, where you have to import the copy from the external NAS to the appliance first, and then you recover it out after. Right? So after you import the backup copies, you support the same recovery options as the local backups once you re-import it back to the local appliance. Right, now you also have hot backup copies. Now those backup copies that are kept on the hot ready appliance off-site, they're on an off-site system that's running Unitrends. The backup copies are kept ready for recovery on that off-site system. Now, the biggest key thing of recovering from hot backup copies is you need to have the hardware at the off-site location to support that recovery. So we need to make sure we have a NAS off-site. Now, what are my recovery options? So the next thing you have to do is kind of select what you want to recover. So you found it on the hot copy target, you found it on the cold copy target, you've imported it back, you know what you're going to recover now. So now you're really to search or locate your files and folders, or you're ready to put an entire NAS back, right? So you go through those selection options of either searching for particular files, searching for specific files, browsing for folders, or the entire backup. Then you kind of ask yourself, where do you want to restore it to? So depending on what type of selection you make on the recovery on the left-hand side kind of determines on where you can go to the right-hand side here, right? So you can either go back to the original NAS location, or you can go to an alternate location on the same NAS. And you can also use other registered assets on the Unitrends appliance as well. So I can recover something from a NAS backup off to a Windows agent or a Linux agent as well too. Right, a lot of different options for where you want to recover it to or restore it to. Now, NDMP backups can only be restored to other devices from the same vendor. So they have to be running NDMP and they have to be from the same vendor. Not quite as dynamic when you look at putting back NDMP backups like normal CIFS or NFS as you see pictured here. When we look at recovering a NAS backup, how it kind of works is first you're going to choose a full or differential NAS backup from your recovery points, your catalogs. Right? You're going to choose that recovery point for the restore. NDMP, once again, remember, it supports an incremental of this. So it's kind of the same thought, but it does support an incremental. But you're going to choose that full or differential that you want to recover from. So in this case, we're going to choose the recovery point of D3 of week 21. Okay, so when I restore that, it's going to restore the full to the original location or an alternate location on the same NAS or another asset, right? That's up to the first section of where you want it to go to. And NDMP, it must go back to the same once again, right? We learned that. And then the appliance is going to use the backup to recreate the NAS backup on the target. So it's going to use the full and the differential and restore up to that point back to wherever I tell it to go back to. Right? To perform a NAS recovery, you're going to need to prepare your NAS for recovery, right? You need to make sure you have the same connection out to a NAS, to the same NAS, the new NAS, right? Wherever you're going to go. And you're going to recreate the NAS recovery job. You're going to locate what you want to recover and set the recovery job details. And then you're going to perform that NAS recovery. When we kind of take a look at preparing the NAS, you want to identify the NAS backups or imported backups that you're going to use for the restore. Once again, you got to make sure it's on the local source as a local backup. All right, so first you may have to go back and verify the recovery target meets your needs. Confirm that you have adequate space available for the NAS recovery. NDMP will only display targets that are online with adequate space, by the way. You're going to confirm Unitrends has right credentials on the recovery target and the mount point. Can we restore to the target the new NAS that you want to go to or the new agent that you want to go to? And once again, if it's NDMP, can only be restored to devices from the same vendor. You can only go to NetApp and EMC NASs to and from their same vendor and running the NDMP protocol. NAS recovery considerations. When restoring files to locations other than the original NAS share, the rights may change or be restricted. You may have to go in and take back ownership. You may have to change the permissions based on where you restored it to. And the permissions of files, as seen when they're mapped back, may not match to that of the NAS. When you put them back as the entire root and you restore the entire NAS, then yes, the permissions will map back. But if you go to different locations, you restore to different locations, alternate locations, sometimes those permissions, they don't map back correctly and they don't match. So be careful of that and just kind of notice that. You may have to go back in and reset some of those permissions when you recover back any NAS type of data to different locations. Next, we're going to watch the how-to video tutorial on recovering a NAS backup. We're going to search for specific files. We're going to recover a file and folder, and we might even recover an entire backup.